Yeah, but this should be a really good set, so I can understand you.
Yeah, you know what? Like I was excited about is we never see this matchup because most people would look, considering the history of these two civs, if they play into like a long feudal, they go into heavy cavalry, right? And you just give the French the win. But this is a new dawn, a new age, a new era of the Roos. Ever since the Boar strat opened up, and B especially has been leading the way on even on this map, whipping it out. I'm intrigued to see what the evolution is going to be for this civ. Like, because I don't think it's just going to be a French cavalry versus Roos cavalry engagement. I think we're going to get thrown a few curveballs here.
Yeah, Roos is a big question mark, right? We have witnessed it last weekend, and we were both excited for so many changes. Ladder has been full of boar plays now, so lots of people got more intel. It feels like French are kind of the least touched civilization by the developers, except the Hulk.
Yeah, they barely got touched at all. I mean, it was, I was scrolling through, I was like, go down to the French, and you're like, it's just bug fixes. They did at least fix the Arbalatriers Pavis. For those unaware, it used to only, once you drop this Pavis shield, you got up to 5 ranged armor. Now it's fixed to add on 5 ranged armor. So that's an improvement. But outside that, nothing has changed about this civ. I believe they fixed one really big bug that might come into appearance in some of these maps, which is to do with the Chamber of Commerce, right? Because it used to be bugged, and the trade wasn't given the additional 30% on some of the resources.
It still feels like School of Cavalry is the better choice most of the time. Oh, you already see SortOf. He is shift-clicking those deer, and now with the faster shooting of those scouts, you actually 3-hit the deer if you only shift-click, although you only need 2 shots, because the third arrow is already in the air. And let's see, SortOf. Oh, chilling a bit. SortOf. SortOf.
Okay. I think he's got one of those rebellious horses, you know. It hasn't been broken in just yet. But it looks like
he's over-damaging a bit there. Makes it easier for you, but not 100% time efficient. That's only, well, 46 hours old, so not all players used to it yet. And School of Cavalry opening with a relatively early mill. Could be professional scouts.
Yeah, Pro Scouts has kind of fallen off the side of a cliff, and I was saying when I saw the patch notes, the only civs that are likely to play to this at all are the 2 on our screen right now, actually. Like the Roos, it makes sense, right? Hunting Cabin lets you push out scouts early on, so there's potential value there. And for the French, because you can generate them quickly once you get into Feudal and how much cheaper Pro Scouts is, it does make some sense. But look at this. We knew it was coming, didn't we? Straight on to my sister. They're going to just stab down the boat, and then that's 2k HP for Sor.
Run!
Oh, no! He's still going to die.
No! Wanted to squeeze through there, but got bloody blocked by his own villagers.
The best part is in real life in that situation, surely the villager would have been trampled to death by the horse. But not here. Villagers are broken in Age of Empires 4. We've been seeing it a lot recently as they whip their shivs out. No, he goes down! Now, we need to check this. Have they got the 12 damage? Because this could have easily been by accident. But the villagers, remember, there is a wonky bug. Yeah, they've got the 12 damage. That explains it. So, for those unaware, there is currently a little bit of a bug, which is not allowed, but can sometimes happen by accident, genuinely by accident, where if you shift-click a gather point, such as wood, carcass, whatever it be, and then you click on an enemy, you'll get 12 damage on your villagers. This, to me, looked like an unintentional situation. Like, he genuinely was gathering the boar, and then the scout stepped on top of him. But we are keeping an eye on that. We've got kind of a gentleman's agreement, right, Nili? Not the kind where we slap each other around the face with gloves and say pistols at dawn, but more so that players won't exploit this to the maximum.
I would be surprised, yeah. The scout might have died anyways, right? He already took the engagement, surrounded by 5 villages there anyways. And, well, early game still continues. Not really sure how much it matters as well. French, obviously, relatively easy to get to more scouts as well. School of Cavalry works faster. So, not the biggest loss for Bra, but obviously loses some scouting potential here.
Yeah, and vision can be very important here if you want to see what your opponent's doing, because the issue that now Bra faces is unless he gets eyes on the boar expansion, SortOf has different ways he can use this, right? We've seen people do proxy bases off it. We've seen people do secondary TC booms. Right now, we can see that the intent is probably just going to be to boar farm this up and build a base back at home, but he needs to get that information. He doesn't have God vision the way we do.
Only 5 villages as well. Most of the time we have seen 8 villages. We mentioned multiple times. You can do it with 8 because the wooden fortress gives you space for 8. But this time, sort of only with 5. Not something we see too often. And now the first military building looks like a barracks, but the first knight is in.
Yep, striking in. Doesn't get the insta-hit down. And he will peel it off. Final strike comes in. He will still get the villager. Now, this is important. Notice that Bra has not actually been able to two-tap them yet. This is because he hasn't got the blacksmiths and thus doesn't have the free damage upgrade. Because when you get that, you can lance into strike with sword and instantly kill a villager in 2 taps as the French.
And as you can see, short distance there for the scouts and doesn't need the third one. So all good there. Spearman still not there. Knight still 3 hits will be enough. If he was charging, is now pushed away. Still no chivalry and we see Spearman upgrade. Let's see if Bra is transitioning into the archer range. Would be the counter to the Spearman defense of SortOf.
Yeah, right now it looks like Bra is just going to keep it simple, leave his options open. And I like that he got the scout out there, right? This is the important thing of having the scout there. We've all been there. We run a knight round the side of the trees and we don't get our charge off. And thus we don't kill villagers. Because he's got the scout down there, he can actually always have long-range vision to charge in. But as you said, spear's now in position, makes it a lot harder. And because SortOf did move his food line out to the board, there's less targets in the primary base for Bra.
Look at debating. Wanted to put the Spearman out of position. Now attacks the bottom if the Spearman is at the top. And pulls those villagers away again. That's so much wood lost.
Yeah, it's a frustrating situation, right? It's something I always like to highlight. Yes, you might get most of the villagers out. Maybe you just stop it at 1 or 2 losses, but now you have AFK economy. This is what makes the French so oppressive, right? This is why they're a tempo civ. They dictate the flow of the game, and they slow down your own timings. And that frustrates the situation. The French, you might notice, time and time again, never boom towards castle quickly. Instead, they drag feudal out uncomfortably for their opponent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you don't have the same weapons, right? French, with their Royal Knights, with chivalry, they're looking so good there. Yeah, you can go for early knights as well, but healing aspect is not there for you, so they will constantly take better fights. Don't you think that maybe Wooden Fortress could have been a better option than the second archer range at home there?
Yeah, I'm kind of on board with that. I was just about to say that. It's kind of surprising that he didn't actually bolster himself here, because remember, the Wooden Fortress is not just good for defenses, which he needs them on that wood line right now. It gives him the additional 20% drop-off of wood, which he's missing. And if you don't play into that drop-off as the Rus, you're not actually benefiting from one of your biggest economical exploits, right? Yes, you've still got the bounty system giving you free gold, but you're missing out on so much extra economy being flooded in at this stage of the game. And now the villagers, oh, they strike that again, the movement in. One goes down. Another thing to highlight, SortOf, he only ran 5 villagers out to that boar, right? A lot of players have been choosing to push 8 for the maximum gains.
Well, loses one of those, now back, and this is annoying, and chivalry is already in, therefore those knights can go in and out. I think Bruce should just commit to a really long feudal age here. Should be good for the French.
Yeah, so the way the SortOf can recover this is if he thinks about Ghost Secondary TC. And he does have a natural base layout to do that, where he could extend to the northern wood line on his primary base, but he's not opting for it so far. He's collecting the wood up, and instead, it looks like he's shifting out of the deer. Interesting choice here. With limited amounts of spears, he's choosing to loosen himself further, having already suffered deeply from the French cavalry raids.
Oh, back at it again. So far, still saving the 4 of them. But they should be low on HP. Look at that. They will soon die. And those knights just hiding in the stealth forest. Sneaky.
Yeah, it's so crafty. I mean, these things are so frustrating. You can see on the vision side, he doesn't see anything, but he knows what's there. He knows where to look for it. And it means that the Wooden Fortress isn't seen him properly each time. And once again, that's the garrison here. And this just has to be getting so frustrating.
Was that an early reaction, or did he still have them gathered in the tower?
I think it's because he was moving his force forward. He was, like, freaking out a little, so he went for the garrison a little bit early. Okay. Because, you know, you're looking elsewhere, right? This is the power of the French. When you have, like, 4 different groups of knights, you can't react to everything they're doing, and he can't react this time. 2 more villagers go down. I mean, well, in his base, he's being struck there as well. He shifted out with the main battalion of spears towards the French economy, which means that his own is being drained, and he's not gaining any value in Bra's base.
And Bra, yeah, he's pushed away from gold, but right now you only need archers, you only need food and wood to address this army. so it's not the worst thing ever. And SortOf even feels like he can go for some aggression, goes for siege engineers.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he, like, how would he think he has the army advantage?
I mean, how does he think he has the wood advantage right now, right? That's the bigger problem. Look at the numbers from Bra. He has a lot more wood per minute compared to SortOf. That's not something we say often in the French-Rus matchup. Definitely not at 10 minutes in the game.
Wow, look at the villager count as well. 42 to 27.
Wait.
We are 11 minutes in and it's 15 villager advantage already. Found quite some kills. Second. Oh no, that's actually a deer spot there.
He hasn't been using the supplies.
Ooh.
He's never been gaining gold. He didn't send anyone on the gold line, understandably at this stage, because he can't afford it, right? As you just highlighted, it's 43 villagers to 27. And he only just now built the wooden fortress for his wood line. That is the third wooden fortress, 175 wood each. Ignore poor little Johnny here trying to run back to base. He's snitching on the French expansion, and that expansion is going to be brutal right now because with this sizable force, SortOf doesn't have a clear answer.
Well, spearmen maybe at the front, but honestly, it's not the craziest amount of spearmen. Archers will find some snipes and upgrades. Slightly better for Bra, in the sense that he's now getting the archer attack. On the other side, still no upgrades in the queue for SortOf.
Right now, if someone was to ask him if he knows if he's kind of, should we say, perfected his Rus opening, his response probably would be SortOf in this situation, right? Because he's just sitting there now with 6 supplies. For those that don't know how these supplies work, by the way, you trade 100 of a resource for 150 of another. It's such a big boon for you. And yet, SortOf hasn't been using that. He only just addressed the missing extra 20% of wood income on his tree lines. And he's sunk behind Bra so far. 47 to 31 eco units. Yes, you can snipe 1 or 2 of these knights down, but it doesn't matter for Bra right now. If all he does is put Baby in the corner, he's got a smile on his face because his economy is already stronger.
Yeah, he has to be so happy. I think just waits for the armor upgrade here and then probably wants to force a big engagement. Still goes for more production, more knights in the queue, more archers in the queue. Now tries to go for it. Spearmen are trying to chase those knights away, but losing some friends.
No, he might lose more. There's plenty of spears left. He has to retreat away, and that means once again idle economy. Garrison's in the wooden fortress. Fight is forced. More villagers will be targeted if he gives any more ground over. And for the moment, he does push Bra away, but it just doesn't matter to Bra. The point is that he's pinned him in. He's going nowhere. He can't make moves of his own, and that means all of the options are open to Bra. He could think about falling back for eco leads. He could think about TC booming with tech booming up. But for now, he's looking to boom the military count. Once they increase that KDA, a clash does cost him 1 of the knights, but in the meantime, the peppering of arrows back and forth is still favoring Bra here. And SortOf, he can't afford to throw away these forces in equal quantities. Keep striking with the knights, will peel off, barely any of the spearmen left, but barely any knights as well. And although he holds him back for the moment, he's once again forced to garrison that wooden fortress. He once again has idle economy, and he once again has no way out of his base.
Still okayish defense, but yeah, as you mentioned, like so many options here for Bra, while we see still Golden Gate not really used. 86, that could be an additional 400 resources for him. Now Siege Engineers, actually for Bra, he feels, okay, I can go for some aggression. Horseman switch, I'm not sure how much that will do, especially because we still have a reasonable amount of knights at the front. Still floating quite some wood here, Bra, so can easily go for 2 ramps.
All right, I'm going to risk getting burned at the stake for being a witch, but I'm going to explain a little bit of alchemy here. Couldn't SortOf simply just buy magical resources out of nowhere with that many supplies? Like, he's drained, right? Yes. Would you not just sell the wood, then buy the wood, then sell the wood, then, like, you know, go back and forth between gold and wood? Like, you'd still be getting more gains. The only thing I can think here is he planning to save this up for a cold winter and drop, like, 4 keeps in his opponent's base? Because I don't understand what this is about.
Oh, but I'm not sure. I think it has to be a really cold winter because this one is already not having the best temperature and he still feels like he doesn't need it or forgot about it. Typically we use it trying to buy ourselves to Castle Age, but this is such a long feudal age that it would absolutely pay off. Now goes for armor here, bruh. I thought he... Watch that in the overlay. It says it already is researched. Oh, we're in the point of view of SortOf.
Yeah,
He's
yeah, I
doing
was
it
about to
now.
say SortOf, yeah. It's pretty late as well, right? Like, this is why he was taking such bad trades. Once again, it's another limitation. Like, you don't have quantity, you don't have quality. And now, funnily enough, we talked about siege engineering possibly for SortOf, and Bra's the one moving into it. Double ram slammed and moving in already. And remember that SortOf, he's barely replaced that spear line. 9 spears, now switching into horseman could be saving grace, but he's up against the graceful French Royal Knights.
And they are really good against
the
horsemen. Numbers are reasonable, though. If the spearmen are taking good engagement, that's fine.
And here they come. They try to wrap in, but the damage already done by the knights. Heavy hits on the horsemen. Horsemen getting turned around upon. The baits from the spearmen being forced out, so the archers trade them out. And now villagers rushing to the front, trying to give momentum, an opportunity to turn this for SortOf, but it is looking grim. More villagers are going to be targeted out. A peel back for the moment, but he keeps the rams alive. And now look at the melee count. Only 3 units that can torch these rams unless you exchange more villagers. And SortOf can't afford that with his current deficit. He can't afford anything. Look at those numbers. Look at the military shrink. Look at the size of his economy. And look at the butchered economy as they get trapped away from the TC. They are going to be massacred by the French.
Oh, this is so good here, and all the knights still alive. So many villagers are dying. Likely that the wooden fortress falls as well. And Lidakor is already going into his signature camera move, and that tells us he thinks it is over pretty soon. And I absolutely have to agree with him. This is looking incredibly good for our French player in the red.
Yeah, if only torches actually worked correctly on wood and burnt the rams instantly, he'd stand a chance, but there's no way out. Surrounded on both sides, pinch left and right. Game 1 will go to Bra.
That was so well executed. How many villager kills he found over and over again. And it felt like spearmen weren't there early enough. The knights got so much damage.
Yeah, he went for the second archery range, right? And all of this comes back to the suboptimal opening, which is, for a start, when he went for the ball plane and done it with 5 people, which, you know, isn't the end of the world. Like, some people prefer 5, some people prefer 8. The bigger detail is that wooden fortress. It took him so long to inflate his wood income. Imagine if he had the extra wood, he would have been able to afford the rack sooner. There's a lot of wooders attached to the wood resource in this game. And I think that's this final detail I come back to, right? If you had to choose one specific moment to highlight in this game that cost SortOf so much of his early presence, it was that suboptimal build around his wood line. As we take to the new, brand new, and improved King of the Hill. And look at that beauty right there. Look how different it is. You would think it's not even King of the Hill.
Looks so different. And look at that beautiful lumber camp. And, oh, it's actually hunting cabin. Oh, give me your predictions in the chat. And you as well. Give me your gold.
He's going to
get... How much is it going to be?
36 gold.
What?
Nah,
that's crazy.
I'm kidding. 31. 31's
tier 0?
I think 31.
31? Tier 0?
You can tell I lose my money quickly in a poker table.
Ooh, drum roll.
Ooh. Oh, you baited me away. I was like, maybe 31's a bit unreasonable. No, 40 gold. Wait, is he building another one? Please tell me that way he wouldn't be able to, right? He's got enough wood. I would think that I would be able to, and I'd instantly be like, can I build another here?
I'd run to the top corner and build another one now.
Nah,
that's crazy.
You just go around this was me on release, by the way. You know when the beta came out and I read that and I was just on Black Forest just dancing along. It's like, I don't need any other resource. But wow, beautiful opening for Bra. And SortOf, he does get his own benefits here, right? Like this type of generation, it prioritizes attention forward, which means that you don't have to worry about your flanks as much. And it means that you can actually plop down town centers next to these tree lines and create a kind of naturally enclosed area, which makes it harder for Bra to raid you. So both sides do have advantages to this new generation.
Yeah. Right now, like, my brain thinks, like, Roos is so good. With that hunting cabin, you still get double deer, and you can contest the boars as well. I think Roos feels really strong on this one, and look at that. Even gets 3 extra wolves. He isn't far away from tier 2.
Yeah, we've just proven the point that it's not just scary tales we tell children. Wolves really are obsessed with sheep, as you're seeing there. And the boars are not necessarily the highest priority, at least if you look at this one. But the thing that I'm curious about is whether Brawl plays towards the northern board, because there's a lot of value up there. It is far out, but it's located next to a tree line. So we could end up seeing that kind of proxy base we were seeing a lot from a few high-ranking people on the previous King of the Hill. I think it's enabled by this, but the question is whether SortOf's going to read it, and also whether SortOf is going to be present in the early game, because we know whenever we get into a game with the Abbasids, there's a hard choice we need to see made. Are you a feudal aggressor, or are you a TC boomer?
Typically, we see that if they collect stone after they got their typical, what is it? They collect 275 gold, right? Or 275 gold. Yeah. For trash foodstuffs and wheelbarrow. Now we see wheelbarrow on Bra's side simply because he has so much gold. Let's go to that hunting cabin again and give us an update, because now with tier 2. It should be like 50 gold per minute, right?
No, don't highlight Nili. They're gonna nerf this map.
51. It's so broken.
I love gold. The feel of it, the touch of it, the smell of it. And that's why I play Bruce.
By the way, for everyone who's just tuning in, score is 1-0 in favor of Bra. This is the home map of SortOf, so he's back against the wall if he doesn't want to drop off into the redemption bracket in the first round already.
See, I think we messed up here. We called it the redemption bracket, and that just sounds too dope. I kind of want to be there straight. Like, who cares about, favorite, who cares about it, right? You want to be the underdog. You want to be the guy who's like, you killed my wife. Now, okay, probably you don't want to be the guy whose wife died, but the point is you want that.
Wait, you want
to? You want to be the badass getting vengeance, right? You want to be Gladiator.
Okay.
Well, no one's marrying me. Thanks for that. But here we go. It's the ball pull. He's actually going for the southern one. I'm a little bit surprised.
Well, it's closer, right? It is more exposed as well. But if you get the tower up there, it actually gives you quite some nice control of that area as well.
That's true. And I guess it's like closer to the center. So the cool thing is whenever you think about the ball play, you're looking for additional value. A lot of people kind of get wrapped up in it's only 2k health. Or 2k food, rather, for your idle villages. Well, that's true if we had a naked map where it's like bore nothing, right? But that would be boring. We don't have that. We have gold veins here. We also have a sacred site nearby. So the play for Bra is probably to set up a kind of little proxy base here for mining operations after the bore. And then later on, if it turns into a sacred site slog, he can easily move across and set up a keep because he already has villagers halfway there.
Yeah, it's a nice setup, right? And just imagine hunting cabin. It's controlling so much as well. It's not only keep for the long run. Obviously, transition onto stone. So SortOf is going for the boom. And also is stable. That is pretty surprising to me. What will Horseman achieve here?
I think he's playing on something I like to call... Okay, I've been wanting to test this here, because I call it informed, uninformed strategy, right? Where if you don't have information what your opponent is doing, there's certain intrinsic plays you expect. So when you're playing against the Ruse, you expect a hard pivot into archers, right? So Horseman kind of makes sense. To put it in like other terms, because you're a poker guy, right? Like the way to think of this is, you know when you put people on a hand, right? Hand ranging, where you, depending on their bets and the way they're playing the hand, you make assumptions about what they have. If you're playing blind the way SortOf is, that's what you're doing. You're giving implied odds, but like you don't know for sure what your opponent has. So in SortOf's eyes, the most effective and safe choice blind is to go into Horseman because the strongest player available to the Roost at this stage in the game is a hard pivot into archers.
Love that poker analogy.
I knew you love it.
What hand is SortOf being dealt here?
So SortOf, because he's going into these horsemen, I think like this is a solid kind of like pocket jacks, which, as you know, as a poker player, there's no right way to play jacks, right? Wow. And the reason it's a solid jacks hand is because I think horsemen are one of the highest value units in Feudal Age, if you can afford it, because it's faster than everything else, right? So you can actually dictate which fights you want to take. And look what we're seeing on the front. I believe that is indeed an archery range, so he's made the right read. And now with the outpost play, also now having this horseman out, he can deny the scout, but not before the villager goes down. But still, the important detail is this outpost is going up in range of the archery range, denying him the ability to get them out for free.
And SortOf already is on stone, so he can easily get arrow slits there. And that's going to be really ugly. Archers are already spawning, always spawning at the bottom of the archer range there. So that will always be a hit in your face. This archer range actually lost a lot of efficiency, only due to that tower.
Yeah, because even if he can't attack the villagers, when you come out, if he's paying attention, you can get 1 or 2 strikes out to the archers. Or this, you force them out to the left side, and that means they're kind of like a little bit more exposed if now pressure comes out from SortOf, because he could drop another outpost on the left side of this. And you can see he's already denied the ball. This is frustrating for Bra.
Great tower.
For those who come from an AoE background, we should clarify that high ground doesn't give more range to units. It affects vision, and that's it. But this is just the power of arrow slits. It adds additional range, and it can fire like it's got a sniper parked in the top.
Yeah, feels a bit like it there. And yeah, range is just crazy sometimes. And also like that it has like those heat-seeking missiles and just chasing all your units till infinity. That feels so unnatural.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, very clearly, everyone is... because we don't want to encourage killing of other humans, these are all robots, and they're actually firing giant magnets. That's why they magnetize.
Just a game.
Yeah, it's just a game, guys. Come on.
Come on. Camel Archers now on the menu as well for SortOf. Arguably, the unit that got buffed the most. Was not played that much. Actually, people started to like it against Spearmen, but was not really used against other things. So, got a buff against everything else. Lost a bit of efficiency towards Spearmen. But I think we will see Camarchas way more in the future.
Look at this, SortOf. He's coming around the back. He's looking to ride in. He's like, wait, he can put up walls? Wait, why does he have a wooden fortress on his wood line? This isn't how I played my Rus.
Yeah. Actually, this is such a good defense, right? Like Horsemen, obviously less scary, but this looks really nice. And I look at that, the waypoint instantly into the wooden fortress, so he doesn't take damage from the tower. That's so clever.
Yep. I mean, he could always shift on the south side, right? But like this way, if you fully garrison anyway, you're just going to maximize fire. And in a long battle, like a wooden fortress beats an outpost. It's not a battle we're going to watch, folks, because honestly, at that stage, we might as well just stream paint drying, but it will end in a victory for the Rus. No, don't.
Triple archer range setup there and double barracks. This is such a massive fuel age play. And Bra, I wouldn't be surprised if he thinks about adding siege engineers pretty soon and makes a go, because SortOf still only on 1 TC, but I think Bra might expect a second one.
I mean, we are expecting the second one, but it's still not there. He has 400 stone now. Like, it feels like this should have been here a while ago, because he came in on a stone quite a while back, right? Like, this wasn't the last minute. It was 2 or 3 minutes ago. And this is opening up the window. Like, the longer you're delayed in doing this, the worse it's going to be, because Bra's reaching his critical power strike timing, right, with the Rams coming out. And then if you choose to invest in a TC, are incredibly weak, because you're going to be investing into static buildings that are going to generate you more eco, which means you're going to have a weaker standing army at this stage of the game.
Well, not that much weaker in the sense of villager costs, but obviously the TC minus 700 resources, plus a lot of distraction. Camarcha numbers and horseman numbers would not be as high. 1 ram now coming out, but seems like enough horsemen to scare the ram away, but tower goes down before that. Bra, 27 to 15 military. Could be a scary push.
All right. Seems like SortOf wants to check if Bra gets bounty when he kills this type of animal. He doesn't, for those wondering. Just a weird free throwaway horseman. Not really doing too much. And it's kind of pricey, because SortOf is still on that 1 TC situation.
Yeah, maybe he should find a new nutritionist. Maybe the old one gave him advice. Try to eat some town centers.
Yeah, I find there's a lot of fiber in that diet. I'm more a protein man, which is what I like from Bra. All the stuff he's munching up from the board to now this horseman army that he's going to try to decimate. But he needs to be careful with the spears. Spears going to be exposed to Camel Archers. Now, Camel Archers, not triple damage anymore, only double, but their base damage was increased. This creature is ridiculous now. It is humping time in Age of Empires 4, as camels could very quickly become the one-trick, not pony, but one-trick camel for this civilization.
What's a small camel? Do you know the word for that? There has to be one, right? A baby camel?
A cam? I don't know. Do we just... Because do you just not have the full word? So this is confusing.
No,
like,
no,
maybe
just
it's longer.
for the pony, right?
Yeah, because puppy and dog,
Pony
right?
of a
Puppy's
camel.
longer. So would it be like Camille? I don't know. I don't know. I
Okay,
think you could go
let's
for like
look.
calves, right? Like the horses, but that sounds boring. They're not horses, okay? Camels are their own thing.
They're trying to find something here. Camel archers going away. A camel pony?
Hey man, speaking of calves, the legs on these archers, they gotta be big. They're doing a lot of workout, running left, right, constantly. They're on march and drill 24/7, and it's because of the choice by SortOf. We talked about this, right? When you go for horsemen, they're one of the best bang for buck units at this stage in the game because of their mobility, giving them constant presence. And it means he's raiding across, poking at Bra's base. He's stationing in the north. And it means that Bra, he can't just rush in. He's looking for critical mass before he goes. And now he feels confident. 2 rams moving in onto the upgraded outpost. But horsemen are still nearby. And the Camel Archer army continues to mate and bring out more healthy solutions to this composition from Bra. And here comes the fight. Horseman trying to peel down to the side. Needs to target out the Spearman. Camel Archers having to back up. Taking raw damage here. Remember, they have no missile resistance, which means these Archers do sting, especially in this quantity. And he has barely any left. The Spears back up for the moment. Now they can charge in. Horsemen are going to have to back off from this. And it looks like this trade is going to be good. Bra looking like he might make this a quick 2-0 sweep at this rate, as SortOf does not have the solution.
Spearman number still so good. Camel Archer completely plummeting. Only 2 more on the field. Now Ram number 3 and number 4 being added. And Bra, he is not far away from actually pushing the main town center.
Yeah, we're turning the count with the count here. There's 1, 2, But the more important is he's got 1 on the board, and soon it might be 2. As he's moving in, House is going to be denied. That's going to block him out. Golden Age is not going to have too much effect just yet. And his main target will be onto that TC. House of Wisdom could be a desirable target because you have to take that out for landmark victory, but it's a lot more tanky, a lot more well-defended, more retracted away. So instead, 4 rounds moving in, going to force the fight. Bad fight for SortOf to take, and he knows it. And right now, Bra, he could just garrison inside the ram to ambush the horsemen when they wrap around. That's what they're trying to do right now. Barely any Camel Archers here. They get peppered down. They try to wrap around with the horsemen on top of the archers. Spears engaging now. Rams being targeted in the meantime by the villagers. They've surrounded Bra's army on all sides, but barely any Camel Archers left. And that's a problem because there's still plenty of spears here, poking and prodding into the villagers who chase onto the rams. Barely any horsemen remaining. The split up is good from Bra. The ram rush can renew. Down to half HP on the TC. Barely any villagers left as they are getting massacred here. And it means he's going to have to pull more across.
54 military against 11 now. Last stands here in SortOf. After having a crazy performance in round 1, drops into the redemption bracket in really quick fashion. We did not expect that.
No, this is how week 1 went. SortOf, he dipped low, picked it up slow, tried to recover that redemption arc. He's going to have to do it again as Bra looks absolutely dominant here. Roos appearing in both games, but miles apart from good to bad here. As not only does he dominate the Roos, but he dominates with them to make it a swift 2-0.
Ooh, that was domination, and we expected a lot from Bra, but SortOf looked so good last time. Some pro players even have them in their top 15 in the world players right now. And SortOf, that's a long run. But remember, round 1, he won 6 sets in a row in the loser bracket, so don't count him out yet.
Yes, that's the thing to highlight here. Like, when we saw the run out of SortOf, it was phenomenal. He looked scary. People, like, after they saw the people he was eliminating, they probably weren't too surprised that he made it into the leaderboards at the end of round 1.